All right, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the New York session. I hope you're all doing well. Um, let's start with the usual dollar index and then work our way with the other pairs. Okay, so starting with the dollar index, as you can see, price was able to go through the fair value gap that I highlighted yesterday during the live session, or Monday, actually Tuesday, when this drop happened. We wanted to see them trade to that, and they did. And then yesterday I gave you another movement from this order block to continue going up, sticking with the order flow on the lower time frame, right? Because I was trying to say, because of how this candle did not close below, it could mean a lot of things, especially this beginning of the year, right? So stick with the order flow. And yes, yesterday proved right with the order flow moving lower. We are going to stick with the same thing. Order flow still to the downside on the lower time frame. We didn't have any fair value gap in New York session yesterday, but we can use this down candle here as a reference point, because that's a last down candle prior to the move up before we went down. That happened in New York session, so we can see London reacted off from it and went down. The reaction off from it is not as fancy as I might have expected it. So maybe this New York session they will give an order block or something that we can reference and then use that for maybe a trade either today or tomorrow. So during the New York session, pay attention, because right now we don't have any fair value gap, any order block to use. So I wouldn't have anything on the euro for this afternoon for a trade idea. Okay, let me double check the British pound. I think British pound does have a fair value gap and an order block here. So maybe the British pound moving from that fair value gap, ultimately I think they might break this low. Price might break that low. So in case you get a trade idea, as in case you get a trade, then hold on to that trade for price to continue going down. If we pull back, okay, I know I've placed it like that, but this is not the entry. You want price to come back up to that level and then drop one more time. Okay, so today maybe the British pound will be the best one to focus on, because it has the reference point that can be used. Okay, and then you can aim for this low, but definitely taking something off before it gets there. Okay. Okay, moving on to the euro pound. We can see that yesterday price did eventually move up, and I said that if we get that, then we can start looking for the buy. This London session was amazing. It did actually give a trade. I personally did not participate in it, but it did give a trade idea here. If you look at the fair value gap in London, that's the entry. Stop loss goes here. We also have a nice fair value gap in New York session, so I actually like that one for a trade idea, for some sort of manipulation, and then price will come back to it. Okay, now since we are rejecting a 3-month low, I don't know how far it's gonna go, but from the weekly perspective, obviously we can come into this particular range. We can come into this range, so maybe 50% is possible. But if you do get, if price was to come here and you get an entry, look for easy target back up here, and then you can leave something to continue. Okay, you can leave something to continue. All right, so yeah, that would be for euro pound. I think yesterday's move was amazing, so look out for maybe, now you can actually do two. Okay, the first one being here, because I don't want them to break that. If it goes here, that would be personally manipulation, and it should reject and go back up immediately. So first entry should be here with a continuation, and if that is to go through, then they will have the next reaction off from that level. Okay, gold. I think yesterday we spoke about gold also potentially coming up here and then going down, but it couldn't do that. Again, I had wanted to see them close immediately below that candle's low, but that did not happen. So going forward, I'm expecting them to go down, especially today. During this New York session, I would like to see them go down. There is no ideal level for an entry because all is a mess on that hourly time frame. On the H4, maybe this candle's low, which lines up with this gap, so somewhere here, that can be the entry point, but definitely let price come up there first. Okay, and then maybe on the 15 minutes or maybe on the 15 minutes or on the 1 hour, you wait for the change in the state of delivery with when the price pulls back. Okay, so when price pulls back on the 15 minutes or on the 1 hour, wait for the change in the state of delivery. Then you can use it for the entry. You can take something off from the last up candle, the closing price 4385. Take something off from there and then look for continuation to the downside. Okay. Crude oil, we're gonna wait, like I did mention, the third week from the 19th of January going. That's when the buyers, or that's when the seasonal move starts. So right now there's no buyers in the market yet. Okay, they might be accumulating, and with the news event that I mentioned they might use, if you check the news that is circulating, obviously you all know what Trump is doing with Venezuela, and they produce oil in that country, so they might cook up some narrative on that and then use it to justify why price does what it does on crude oil. So now we'll be expecting it to go up. Okay, so if you see a movement down, don't buy into that. As in, if you see price going down, don't believe that movement to the downside. It might be manipulation before they send it up, and if it does go up, then obviously that's what we're expecting. But if it goes down, that would be a good thing, because that will send the majority of the people looking for a continuation to the downside, and they will be manipulated, or price will reject it and then go back up. So whichever way it goes, at least you have the information, right? So you are prepared for it. So that's what we are waiting for on the crude oil. S&P, I think if I also go to the hourly, yesterday I think price managed to go up, but it quickly rejected. Now with that rejection, it has created this last down candle and this last up candle as a breaker and order block. So pay attention to this down candle today. If price can get there, look for a movement back down again to attack this low. Okay, look for a movement from here to there. So the reference point is 6975.50 or the gap. Okay, I think they overlap. If I was to go to the lower time frame, you see we have a nice gap over there, right? They overlap, so keep an eye on that particular level and up. Okay, keep an eye on that particular level and up for some form of rejection from there and a continuation to the downside. crude oil. The dollar yen, nothing has really happened yet. I'm still looking for the continuation to the upside. So on dollar yen, we're still bullish. Nothing has really changed. Price is just stuck in that small consolidation. Australian dollar, I think I made mention that this will be a divergence, and clearly it's divergent, right? You can see the last move to the upside barely made a high. So I think we might get a continuation to the downside to break this down candle. Okay, we might get continuation to the downside to break that down candle. You can see it's clear equal low, so I'm actually looking for a continuation to the downside. On the 1 hour, you can see we have a nice up candle over here that happened during the Asian session. So, and this is likely going to be the high of the week, and then this equal low will be taken. So during this New York session, this up candle or just the gap above it can be an entry. And then you're looking for the equal low as a drawn liquidity. All right. So that is that for the Australian dollar. You can use this up candle or the fair value gap up there. It's entirely up to you. And then look forward for a continuation to the downside. So that is that for the Australian dollar. Now let's move on to the crypto market. So basically, I think yesterday I had issues with the network, so I couldn't continue with some of the pairs. I think we did manage to get somewhere, but I couldn't finish because of the network issue. But essentially, that is exactly what I was expecting, right? For the weekly to reject and then go lower. So I'm not surprised to see what the market is doing over here. That's basically what's supposed to happen. If I go to the monthly, you see, not that one. If I go to the monthly, you see that they took out the previous month high into that fair value gap that we talked about, and then we've started rejecting, and then on the daily we are coming down nicely. I think we will eventually break this low and then continue going lower. So look for a continuation to the downside on the Bitcoin market, and the same applies to these ones. Ethereum, I think Ethereum did nice yesterday, right? We closed bearish, so today was likely high percentage wise for price to go down, and you can see that we are going to trade inside this gap. We will trade through it and then continue going lower. Same thing with Solana. It didn't even get to the gap that I highlighted, and then it gave up the ghost. Again, I think the Bitcoin is the leader, so what Bitcoin does, the rest follows. That's why I couldn't even get there. So expect a continuation to the downside. Ripple, obviously, want to engage with that. Hype, same thing. We're expecting it to follow through, continue going down, and then Chachki, that one I think I made mention that we are likely gonna trade higher, okay, because it's showing relative strength relative to all the other ones. It's showing relative strength, so it's either we stay in a consolidation or we trade up here. So keep an eye on that for if you do trade it, then I think it might trade to this candle's low because of the way the monthly time frame has shaped itself. Okay, so that is that for the Chachki. And then the AI16Z is still stuck inside that fair value gap that I spoke about. Okay, we are still stuck inside that fair value gap. Price has done nothing, but I think again very soon we might get a quick rejection from there. Okay, so when that happens, obviously I'll tell you, but where we are, basically, if you want to do anything, that I think a buying, it's the right thing to do, right? No selling in here. So that is that for AI16Z. I think we are in that for quite some time now, almost 2 to 3 weeks, from 22nd December. I mean, we've been in there till now. So yes, expect maybe a surprise move that will happen on the AI16Z. Let's go back to trading view. Okay, so that's basically all that we are expecting. So again, dollar index, we are expecting it to go higher, right? So euro continuation to the downside, and then British pound continuation to the downside, gold continuation to the downside. My favorite is this one. I think I keep mentioning it. My favorite is this one because there's room to the downside, right? So, and then obviously the dollar yen, you can look for a buy. You're aiming for this equal high. Okay, so that's all I have for you for this morning. I'll see you same time tomorrow for another live session. Until then, have a wonderful lest I forget, Friday we have the NFP, so be very careful, be aware of it, because it's the first week of the year, so a lot can happen with the NFP. So if you do trade any of the things that I've shared, make sure your stop loss is intact and you place your take profit just in case price moves aggressively towards the levels I'm pointing to. You'll be able to get out from it. Okay, so have a wonderful day. I'll see you same time tomorrow for another live session. Until then, take care. Have a wonderful day.